Hello, my name is Jason JROCK Houston, and tonight we're speaking with Frankie Stiles, whose stage name is Mick Mars. And of course, Frankie, you play the role, I guess, of Mick Mars in the Motley Crue tribute band Public Enemy #1, and you guys are based out of Arizona, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, I originally was going to interview your singer Vince tonight, but he was unable to do it, so I want to start the interview off by thanking you once again for taking time to do this. I really appreciate that. And Vince was telling me that you're actually one of the guys that started the band, so I guess the best place to start this interview off is if you could first tell us how you first got into the music of Motley Crue.
Well, I was a fan of Motley Crue when I was really little, and through the years I got into other bands like Guns N' Roses and huge Pantera fan. Excuse me.
Uh-huh.
And so then after picking up the guitar and being on the music scene for a while and being in a bunch of original bands and things like that, I caught another tribute band at one of the casinos out here and thought that would be fun. So it was only logical I went with Mick Mars.
Okay, now, like I said, I understand you're one of the main guys that started the band, and like a lot of working musicians, you probably did your own original music, but I was kind of interested in hearing your story as far as why you quit doing the original music thing and went the route of a tribute band.
Well, it's just you run into a lot of musicians, and being in original bands, it's good for about the first 6 months, and then after that, everybody decides they have their own vision of where the band is going.
Yeah.
and then it just turns into a big mess, and before you know it, you're either replacing people or the band's just broke up.
And so
I figure when you're doing Motley Crue or any tribute band, it's here it is. This is the history, just recreate it.
yeah, now I'm looking on your Facebook page, and you guys really look the part. I mean, how long did it take you to get all your stage clothes and really get the look down?
It all actually came really quick. I'm a real stickler for the guitars that I use, so I try to go through all eras and try to recreate at least one guitar that he used, mainly on that tour.
Yeah.
Or, something that was noticeable from a video or something like that.
Yeah.
But it all just came together really quick. It's really easy to find that stuff once you start looking.
Yeah, of course, Mick Mars is a very talented but overlooked guitar player. He's one of the main songwriters in the band, but he's also kind of one guy in the band that's kind of really overlooked. Why do you think that is?
Because people are blind, I guess. I don't know. He's incredible, and I've had to take a combination of ways of learning the Motley Crue stuff to make it sound good live. I've gone through different tablatures, different records, and then I've watched a lot of live video to try to figure out how he fills up certain areas live, because sometimes when you learn them, they just don't sound right. But when you listen to him playing, it's like he's playing 5 guitars on stage at once sometimes. And
then, and typically, on most of the Motley Crue stuff, except for that one 1994 album, Mick is doing all the guitars. So when you guys are performing on stage, is that ever difficult? That you don't have another guitar player in the band that you can kind of swap parts with.
No, it's just we're a tribute band. We do. There's only Mick, Vince, Tommy, and Nicky as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So no, like I said, I just watch a lot of live video and try to recreate what he does live in certain areas, because there are so many guitars on the album. So I just do a lot of video watching, really.
Yeah, and of course, people recently learned, when the Dirt came out and that about this horrible illness that Mick's been suffering with all these years, and for years people kind of wonder, why does he just kind of stand in one spot on the stage? But as far as you paying tribute to Mick, does that make it easier where you just have to kind of concentrate on how you're playing the guitar and trying to keep things the way he plays them, as opposed to like the other guys maybe have to worry about the moves, and like the guy in your band that does Nicky Six, he's trying to move like Nicky, where you just kind of have to concentrate a little more on how you play your guitar?
Well, no, because we do the kind of dressed up as in the Theater of Pain and the Shout at the Devil era.
Yeah.
So Mick was a lot more mobile in those years. So, again, that's one of those things where you just watch a lot of video. We do the choreography from the videos or from the old live shows that they used to do. Try to get some of the moves in there. I don't have to just stand in one spot.
Yeah.
He wasn't super active, but he was in more than just one spot back in those days.
Oh, okay. And I would think too, doing Motley Crue, one thing would make it interesting as far as being the guys playing the songs is that if you put on any two Motley Crue albums, there's always a progression from album to album, and no two Motley Crue albums sound exactly alike. So even when you're performing these songs, that's got to make it quite fun to play these different songs.
Yeah, his tone was all over the place. From we basically cover songs from Feel Good to the '84 album.
Okay.
And so I just kind of try to find that happy medium in there.
Yeah.
And do the best I can as far as his tone.
And now, of course, you're from Arizona, and I'm talking to you from Los Angeles, California, and the tribute scene out here is it's been really big and getting bigger and bigger over the last few years. Is there much of a tribute scene there in Arizona where you are? Or is it kind of slowly but surely growing there?
The music scene here is funny. I mean, some months it'll just be really hitting, and then the other times it'll be just dead. It's like nobody's even around. So, I know personally of maybe 5 or 6 tribute bands out here.
Uh-huh.
And again, it just depends on what's going on as to how many people want to come see you that week.
And do you guys typically play with other tribute bands, or does it kind of just, are you kind of all over the place, like you play with whoever?
No, so far we've done mostly all tribute shows.
Oh, that's cool.
We played with maybe 2 or 3 original bands. We have an actual show coming up in November with a bunch of original bands. We're the only tribute band on the bill, but
yeah, because actually,
it doesn't matter. We'll play with anybody.
Yeah, because actually, I came across you guys' Facebook page, but actually, it was this guy Brad Thomas. He's from a Bad Company tribute band called Soul on Fire, and I guess you guys had done a couple shows with them. And when I was interviewing Brad, he kind of happened to drop your band's name, and he's saying that's a great Motley Crue tribute band from Arizona. We've done shows with them, and I think that's another.
Yeah, those guys are great too. Man. They got some great musicians in that band.
Yeah, I think.
I hate following them, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think that's another great thing about the tribute scene is, as opposed to a lot of these original rock bands that are kind of competing with one another, a lot of the tribute bands they're really it's like a network and or almost a fraternity where the bands kind of helping one another.
Yeah, there's actually another Motley Crue tribute band here in town, and I'm not trying to compete with them. I'm just trying to go out and have fun and do whatever I can, and we all try to just get along and try to book a bunch of shows together and make the shows bigger and better each time. Get in bigger places so we can get more people in. We love working with everybody out here in the tribute scene. It's been really fun.
And as far as the other Motley Crue tribute, I was curious if you ever caught one of their shows or been curious to, hey, let's go see what they're doing and just to get ideas.
I catch every one of their shows, of course.
That's cool. And
of course, I want to know what the other people are doing. If I'm doing something wrong, I want to see it. So
yeah, and of course, I got to ask you, being a Motley Crue fan, what do you think about the fact that the band's on what they're calling their final tour?
I think there's always loopholes. They'll be back.
That's kind of what I think, but like especially when I hear Nicky say, no, if we dare ever perform live, the fans can sue us. I would like to see a fan actually sue them because we're going to go and perform live.
Yeah. Well, what they'll do is they'll pull out their contract. They're smart guys. It's publicity, I think. But I am interested to see what Mick Mars puts out for his solo album. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, I kind of been hearing rumblings about that, and even that John Corabi might appear on that or something. I think that'd be cool. Are you much of a? Of course, you're more of a classic Crue, but I was curious, what did you think about that album they did with John?
I thought that was a great album. I just think they would have been better off not calling it Motley Crue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The album's incredible. I don't think that there's actually a bad song on that album. I just think that they'd have done themselves more justice not trying to label it as Motley Crue.
Yeah, and are you much of a 6 a.m. fan?
I've only heard a couple songs of the 6 a.m. stuff. But what I did hear, I thought was great. So it just depends on the day. As far as a lot of the times, I'm more of a into the guitar riffs and stuff like that. So that's what tends to catch my eye or my ear, rather more than
Yeah. So of course you're saying when we started the interview that you were Motley Crue was one of the bands you were really into early on. I was curious, how old were you when you first picked up the guitar, and why was it the guitar you chose as your instrument?
Well, honestly, I think I was about 10, 11 years old, and it was to get chicks.
Yeah.
It was to get chicks, man. I mean, all the older guys were getting all the chicks in high school, and they played guitar. So I was like, well, that must be the ticket.
Yeah. Okay. And do you remember what was the first song you ever learned to play?
The first song I ever learned to play was Every Rose Has Its Thorn.
Oh, cool. And okay. And so I was curious. This might be a hard question too, but being a Motley Crue fan, what's your all-time favorite album?
Favorite album?
Yeah.
I probably have to say Theater of Pain.
Oh, that's kind of surprising. Only because a lot of people, weren't, that's not one of their favorite ones, because a lot of people feel that album just had the 2 hits, and for us it was filler.
Yeah, but I think a lot of their songs on that album were solid. People just didn't get to hear them.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
I think that that whole album was just great songs. Just people just never paid attention to them because of the 2 songs that got radio play.
Yeah, and Public Enemy #1. I was curious. Like a lot of these tribute bands, you guys obviously named yourself after one of the band's songs, and that's actually one of my favorite all-time Motley Crue songs. I was wondering, how did you guys go about naming the band? Did somebody just throw out that, or did you all have ideas?
Yep, I think Vince Burles just said, "Hey, let's call it Public Enemy #1." I was like, that should be fitting for this group of guys.
Yeah. And you guys, I was talking a little bit about your stage names. I think you came up with really cool names like, Mick Starz and Vince Thrill. Did each guy kind of come up with those names for himself?
I didn't. I was given mine. Vince did, Nicky Licks did, and T-Boner did.
Wow, that's...
I was given mine. I was like, I don't know. I kept trying to think of other planets, and they're like, what about Mick Starz? I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That sounds better than any one that I had, so...
And so I was looking on Facebook. I noticed, your bass player Nicky. He's in a couple other bands. Do you have any other bands you're in, or is this your main project right now?
Right now, back to my main project. I've been starting to write some more of my own stuff, and for a while, everyone was telling me how much I look like Tom Keeper. So we're actually talking about doing a Cinderella tribute.
Wow, that's cool. Now, and we were talking about the fact that Motley Crue is going on what they're calling their final tour, which in a way, I guess, be good business for you guys, for the fact that if and when they play that final show, or, they don't play any more shows for a while, there'd be more of a demand for, because a lot of Motley Crue tributes are starting to pop up, which I think will be good business for you guys.
I think so too. I've seen a lot of the Motley Crue tributes, and I think the leg up to, we have, our Vince is incredibly close to the real Vince Neil.
Yeah.
It's crazy sometimes when I listen to him sing, when we're sitting there playing, and I'll just kind of doze, gaze off, and like, wow, sometimes it feels like you're playing with Vince Neil.
Yeah.
He remembers way more of the words, though.
And so, how often do you guys play out? I mean, do you play a couple shows a month, or does it just kind of depend on the offers that come in?
Yeah, it just depends. We'll have 3 or 4 shows a month, and then we won't have a show for, month and a half, 2 months. It just, we try not to burn ourselves out here in town, We have a great local base that come and see us fairly regularly, so
yeah, and
we don't want to burn them out too much, but we're trying to get more shows outside of the state now.
Yeah, and now let me ask you, Frankie, now when you guys come up with a set list, how hard is that? I mean, do you typically just put in all the hits? Do you ever play any of the deep cuts?
What do you consider a deep cut?
Well, like, for example, we were talking earlier about Theater of Pain. Most people, they think of automatically Smoking in the Boys' Room or Home Sweet Home. They might not have ever heard, like, Use It or Lose It or something like that.
Well, we just added All in the Name of Rock and Roll. We play Starry Eyes. We play Public Enemy #1. A lot of people, you'd be surprised. They don't really know that song sometimes.
Yeah, and the funny thing about that song is I've noticed it pops up in a lot of movies and TV shows.
Right.
Yeah, and now are you?
We try to mix it up. We have to have the hits in there for sure, but we have right now in our possible set. I think it's 33 songs right now.
Wow, and now Motley Crue, of course, is much of a visual thing as a live act. So, how hard is it, or how long does it take you guys to get in your stage outfits and made up and everything before you go on stage?
Probably about 2 hours.
Wow. See, and I don't think people realize all the hard work that goes into this, because a lot of people have a misconception that guys that play in tribute bands or failed musicians are just making a living off of other people's music. But to me, this is like almost rock and roll theater. I mean, I don't think people realize all the work and dedication that goes in put on just one of these shows you guys do.
Yeah, it's really fun to do. I'm not, if someone out there is making a living off of being in a tribute band, I'd like to know who it is. I want to join that band because I have a day job.
Yeah.
So, but it's just fun. Our fans here locally, they really do appreciate the hard work that we put into it, and that's why they come out, to almost every show.
And so you see a lot of the same faces, at all the local shows, I would imagine.
Yeah, and like I said, that's what we have 33 songs, so we want to make sure that it never gets stale. We can throw out quite a few different songs there. If it's only an hour and a half set or a 2-hour set, we can actually play for about 3 hours.
Wow, that's cool.
So, but we go back, like I said, we watch a lot of video. We try to, drum solos and, just little things that they did here and there on stage when they were talking to the crowd or interacting with the crowd. We try to recreate those moments too. So,
wow.
We put a lot of work into it.
Yeah. So if you don't mind me asking, because you're mentioning that that you also have a day job, I was curious. What do you do? Your regular 9-to-5 job or whatever.
I'm a machinist.
Oh, that's cool. So when you go and do these shows, that must be a great way to kind of after working in a machine factory all week or whatever, to get your go out there and just shred it up on the guitar. Yeah, get your rocks up. That's a great way to put in it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It helps keep me sane sometimes.
And have you ever had people like from your day job or your everyday life come to your shows and kind of be amazed, like, oh man, I can't believe that was you up on stage?
Yeah, it happens quite regularly.
Yeah,
actually.
That's cool. And are you surprised at like the fan base you guys have built? I mean, probably when you first started doing this, you really had no idea, how successful you could be at this.
Yeah, no, this is the first band I've ever been in where I played, more than one cover song at one time. All the original bands and stuff, we maybe throw in one cover or sometimes no covers. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because what I always like to tell people, that think tributes are just other, just cover bands. See, a cover band is just a bunch of guys that get up on stage and they perform different covers from different bands. But a tribute like what you guys do, you're paying tribute to one band, and you're dressing the part, you're looking the part, you're playing songs like they play them. Almost like like I said, rock and roll theater. Almost like you're recreating it.
Yeah. I'm trying to take anybody who sees the flyer and goes, "Oh man, I remember them back in the day." I try to make them feel like they're back in the day sometimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean that's exactly what you guys are doing. Because I remember the first time I seen a Guns N' Roses tribute out here, and they were called Hollywood Rose. The singer looks dead on like Axl Rose from 1987. That's as close as you're ever going to get to Slash and Axl playing on stage. And I had to pinch myself for a minute because this band was that good that, I was like, am I at a Guns N' Roses show? You know, of course I knew I wasn't, but for you know, a brief second I thought, man, these guys are that good.
That's awesome, and that's our goal. That's why I think we're lucky to have the singer that we do, because, like I said, he's a lot like his sound and his tone, the way he delivers it, and right from it. He's a real good Vince. Just sounds so much like him.
So it seems like the other guys in the band also kind of keep you on your feet, and it looks, as far as you guys are a solid band. It looks like where there's no egos or anything in this band. You got the ultimate goal of putting on the ultimate show for people that come to see you.
That's it. I mean, I don't go out thinking that I'm Mick Mars when I'm just going to see another band or something.
Yeah.
Trying to do that whole thing. I go out to support other friends and other bands, because I love what they do and they come see us and we love what they do. There's no need for egos.
Yeah, and another thing I like to point out to people is, like I said, where I'm from out here in Los Angeles, tribute scene's been going really strong, since the early '90s. And just to give you an example, there's a Van Halen tribute out here called the Atomic Punks.
I've seen those guys.
They go all over the place, and the funny.
Those guys are awesome.
The funny thing is, their original singer, he looks dead on like David Lee Roth. He's the guy that's now fronting Steel Panther.
I know. I love those guys too.
And he for a while he left Atomic Punks to do LA Guns, of course, with Tracy Guns, and then he left LA Guns to go back to Atomic Punks because he was making a lot more money doing the David Lee Roth thing, and that just, it kind of blows my mind and shows you how successful you could be at the tribute thing if you've got the right group of guys together.
Yeah, the right group of guys, and it just takes work. You have to be better than the other, Motley Crue bands out there.
And so, I imagine you guys kind of manage your own band, or do you book your own gigs? Like you said, one thing you're trying to work on that a lot of these tribute bands are starting to do is not just do local shows, but to get out of state and sometimes even in other countries.
Yeah, I would love to get just about everywhere. So any place I can play. I love playing live, so we book as many shows as we can, as far out as we can. Not about money wise, but just getting out and playing somewhere other than here in town.
And just talking to you, I could tell how much you love doing what you do. I mean, like you said, you're a Motley Crue fan yourself, so to be able to get up on stage and play these songs that you grew up on, that must be just totally a blast for you.
It's fun, because on a smaller scale, you kind of feel like you're seeing what everybody feels when they play them too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, on a smaller scale, you get to see that. When people are singing along with Home Sweet Home or Smoking as the Boys are pumping their fists in the air to shout at the devil, you kind of, on a smaller scale, you get to see what Motley Crue sees just, in a smaller area.
And talk a little bit about the fans. I mean, after the shows, I mean, you must have people coming up to you and, you're as good as a real Mick Mars, or just, you must, have, stories like that, or people, like we were saying, telling you, oh man, you took me back to the day when I first saw Motley Crue. You must have amazing things people tell you like that.
No, actually, I've always heard, hey, do you know how to tune your guitar?
Oh, wow, really?
What are you playing through? A little tube amp back there or something?
Wow.
I get a lot of compliments. It's a lot of fun. It's, when people come up and want to get their picture taken with you and things like that, it's really, really awesome.
And as far as taking the photos, a lot of the photos, like on the Facebook page, stuff that fans submit, or do you guys have like a professional photographer? The reason I ask is the photos up there look really professional, especially like.
It's a mix of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had professional photos shot. We've had friends with iPhones and things like that, and we try to make sure every time someone asks for a picture, we try to have at least one camera handy so we can get a picture with that person also that came to see us too.
Yeah, like I'm looking at one of the promo shots. It says "Public Enemy #1" of a Facebook page, Motley Crue tribute. It's a picture of you and Nikki, and you've got like a Theater Pain guitar. Was that something that you had specially designed? Did you design that yourself?
Basically, what I did was I took a Kramer guitar like he used on that tour,
Uh-huh.
and I took it all apart and took it down, and had it airbrushed, and I took a picture of the guitar that he used for the Home Sweet Home video.
Yeah.
And I took that to my airbrush guy, and I had him airbrushing.
Yeah, and mentioning Home Sweet Home, I was curious. There's actually two different videos for that. Of course, there's the original one where the band's, performing live, live shots with the tour bus and stuff. And then there's the 1991 Decade of Decadence video. I was wondering if you, what you thought of a remake and all that.
The remake for Home Sweet Home isn't really that much different.
Yeah.
The Shout at the Devil remake, I'm not super keen on, but I think they already had such a great song that I couldn't figure out why they would want to, try to change it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it was just that whole 90s grunge movement is why they tried to kind of grunge it up, I guess.
Yeah, and the last thing I want to talk about is, again, looking at the photos on the Facebook page, the stage outfits are really authentic looking. They look like they're from that era. Is that kind of one of the most expensive parts about what you guys do is, the costumes and that?
Well, yeah, pretty much. That and like I said, I'm a stickler for, if I'm going to go up there, I just, for our the new look we're about getting ready to do, for the Shout at the Devil, I went out and got a BC Rich, so I had to make sure that was white. I had to go through that whole ordeal. So if you count that as part of the costume, then absolutely it's expensive.
Yeah, and Shout at the Devil, that's like one of my favorite albums, like a lot of people, because, if you look where they started from, with Too Fast for Love, that was kind of a mixture of, like, punk, almost glam, and then you go full blown on metal with Shout at the Devil, and then even Theater of Pain just kind of goes back to the glam. Shout at the Devil is one of those albums that just every track on the album, really is a masterpiece. Have you guys ever thought about like doing an album or something in its entirety?
Do you mean live or you mean recording?
Live. Like how a lot of these bands, like even Motley Crue, on their Crue Fest, they did Dr. Feelgood live from track one to track, the last track.
Oh yeah, I don't think we've talked about doing anything like that, but that's one of those things too where a lot of people like the song Bastard. We play Bastard,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, if you don't have Shout and Looks to Kill, but you also got to have Girls, 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 and Wildsider. As a tribute band, you get fried.
Yeah. Well,
we leave important decisions like that to play whole albums as a real band.
Yeah, okay. Well, Frankie, I really enjoyed talking to you tonight. I can't thank you enough for taking time to do this. And is there anything else you'd like to let the people know before we let you go?